Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, it's a trap! A night trap, that is. It's dangerous to go alone, so Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including the Dark Souls delay and a brand new Castlevania game. And then on Thursday, come back, we're going to be talking about Nintendo Labo. In the meantime, though, Mark, how you doing?
Oh, wow. Oh, man, I don't know. I'm on so much cold and allergy medicine right now.
Yeah.
I'm feeling great.
You are
in the
feeling
moment.
okay, great.
Yeah.
Just burping right into the mic. Amazing.
The gross thing is that's not even really a burp. It was more just like trying to talk and my throat being coated in so much mucus.
And that was the sound that
all
escaped
that could escape.
first.
Yeah.
Wow, man, wow. Right before we started rolling, I asked how you were doing because you seemed far away, is what I said.
We're going to be fine. We're going to get through this.
We're going to have a great show. This is a great show. I already said we're going to have a great one. It is going to be a great one. Before we get started, we do need you to help us out. And by when I say you, I don't mean Mark. He's too drugged up to help out. We need you, the listeners, to help us out. Please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. We're trying to get enough reviews up there so we can submit ourselves as press for E3, and then we can go and get high on cold medicine and walk around the E3 show floor. I don't know what we do. Special thank you to Super Game Joy and Lance 848-58595 for leaving us 5-star reviews this week. It helps us tremendously. That's how people discover the show, and all of that helps us. Plus, we might go to E3 for you.
Yeah.
This is all good.
And also, no guest weather this week. But if you want us to do guest weather, we would love to tell you the weather of some place, any place.
Preferably a place that we've never been and will never go to. But you have to leave those requests in your review or tweet at us or whatever. And we'll
right.
We just don't want to. We just don't want to decide. We're paralyzed with choice.
Even though there are innumerable places on this earth that we could do weather, for some reason it's paralyzing every week when we had to try to think of one.
Yeah, because we're like, have we been doing too much in the Midwest? Are these too many American cities? And then we're like, what are non-American cities? Look, we're idiots.
Do our job for us. We're too dumb.
We are too dumb. If you want more evidence of how we're too dumb, you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell. Collectively, the show is at NinCart Society. And the Facebook page, if you want to go there, is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Mark, Sonic Forces.
Yeah.
My copy of Sonic Forces is still out there in the world.
Oh, okay. The way you were the way you built up to that, I wasn't sure if it had returned.
No, if Sonic Forces returns to me, I'm texting you immediately.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
You will know within the hour. Because at this point, it's been gone for a month and a half. It's been gone for a while. So if anyone has seen my copy of Sonic Forces, please return it to me. Otherwise, if you would like to get on a list to maybe someday borrow my copy of Sonic Forces, you should send your address to Nintendo Cartridge Society at gmail.com, and I will add you to the list. And then maybe someday you will get a copy of this thing. Mark, do we want to talk about the our next event episode that we need people's help with?
Yes.
Okay, so at some point in the future, maybe in the next month or a month and a half or so, we are going to be determining which is the best starter Pokemon of all time. Now, the best of all time. So there's something like 7 generations of Pokemon now?
Yeah, the 7. We're anticipating the 8th being announced for Switch.
But until then, we need to know which of those starters is the best. The best. I want clearly articulated answers, and I don't want anyone to say Pikachu. Do you start with him in yellow? Do you start with him in yellow?
I think it's an option to start with him in yellow, yes.
I don't want anyone to say that. You can think it, but don't say it.
Wait, why? I think Pikachu's a valid option.
Oh, we may have to stop the show right now. All right, Mark, let's get into what we've been playing this week. So I've actually not been playing a bunch of Nintendo stuff this week. I did pick up God of War on Friday, and I have sunk a bunch of time into it. I was alone on Friday night and most of Saturday, and I took the opportunity just to sink my teeth into that game, and I'm really enjoying it a lot. I know it's not a Nintendo game, but I'm really having fun with it.
How many hours do you think you're in?
I've probably put in like somewhere between 8 and 10.
Wow.
At this point.
Does the game give you like an idea of how far along you are into it? Like, is there a completion percentage or anything?
No. I really have no concept. I could be, just at like the beginning of where the game opens up. I could be like halfway through it. I really have no way of knowing.
Do you find the narrative satisfying?
Yes,
that's cool.
Narrative is satisfying. The characters are well acted. They're well written. And there's lots of like fun, crazy set pieces and stuff. So like I'm really enjoying it. As much as or more than I thought I would.
That's awesome. I haven't been playing anything new. I've just been playing a bunch of Stardew Valley this week.
Mm-hmm.
I finally figured out the fishing mechanic.
The fishing mechanic isn't that hard, right?
I thought it sucked.
Well, no argument from me. I don't think there's any good fishing in a video game. Any.
Yeah, I mean, for some reason when I first tried it, I was just okay. Basically, what happens is
walk me through it.
A little indicator shows up,
mm-hmm.
and there's a little icon of a fish, and it'll go up and down this indicator, and you have to try to follow it, by pressing the Y button.
Right, to like keep like your barriers within like the range of where the fish is.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And in the beginning, before you've leveled up at all, it sucks. It's terrible. It is not fun. It's hard to catch anything. I hated it. So I've put, I don't even know how many hours in this game at this point, and I've just never done the fishing because I hated it so much. But then finally, I'm trying to complete those bundles in the community center.
Okay.
And like, there's an entire aquarium full of fish that you're supposed to catch. And so I decided I finally had to do it. Once you catch just like a couple of fish, then you start leveling up your fishing skill, and it becomes a lot easier, and you get like bait and new fishing poles and all this kind of stuff. But man, I love that, there was an entire aspect of this game that I'm just now discovering.
That's so funny
for so long.
Because like I probably played Stardew Valley for like 4 or 5 hours. And I like fishing was part of it for me that like I was doing from almost the very beginning, because you get a fishing rod.
Yeah,
really
first couple of days. Yeah, for sure.
Really early in the game. But it's cool that you found like another aspect of the game to enjoy. Do we know when the multiplayer?
I don't think an official date has been announced, but it seems to be coming soon, like in the next month or so. I think that might be really fun to check out together.
Yeah, what would we be doing multiplayer?
Great question. I don't know.
We're just gonna be like running around a farm, like picking parsnips together.
Yeah, maybe it's like Animal Crossing's multiplayer, where you just like visit the person's town
and just throw trash everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
We have also, of course, been playing Nintendo Labo, but we will talk more about that on Thursday. But early impressions, I would say, kind of positive.
Yeah, I thought it was cool.
Just tantalizing enough to bring them back. All right, yeah. Mark, let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
All right, Tuesday, April 24th, South Park, The Fractured Butthole is coming out.
This is one that I am going to play.
Do you think you will get the DLC packs immediately, or do you think you'll just kind of like wait and see how it goes?
No, I'm gonna wait and see how, because I'm fully prepared to not love the game.
Sure.
But if I'm enjoying it a ton, I you know what? I think I'm probably just not going to get the DLC. Because even when I like games like this, the game itself is almost certainly going to be enough for me. I've loved a lot of the recent Fire Emblem games. I don't need the extra content. I liked Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. I didn't need the DLC content there. I bought it there, but I've the game is game enough without having extra stuff. I assume South Park will be the same way.
Also coming out today is a game that the only reason I'm bringing it up is because I like saying it is Hello Kitty Kruisers.
Now, this is almost certainly Hello Kitty Kruisers and not Hello Kitty Kruisers.
But like,
I mean, it's a fine read, and it made us both chuckle.
Also, The Legend of Zelda Encyclopedia is out today. Dark Horse.
And we looked into this, and this is like the third volume in Dark Horse's like set of like
Hyrule Historia,
art and artifacts. Yeah. So if you already have 2 thick volumes of Zelda stuff from Dark Horse and you want a third, Tuesday's your lucky day.
And then on Thursday, April 26th, the Neo Geo game is Ghost Pilots.
Yeah, that's like an overhead like shooting. You're in an airplane.
Yeah, I knew it wasn't going to be as interesting as the title leads you to believe.
No.
Because it could be about like ghost television pilots.
Now that would be very funny. Ghost pilots. So like, how are there that many ghost TV shows? There really aren't.
No, I would say there are not any at all. How many are there?
What about Ghosted?
I don't think that's about ghosts.
You don't think that's about ghosts?
It might be. I don't even know what it is.
It's that Adam Scott.
Oh yeah, that is about ghosts.
That is about ghosts. Okay,
yeah, very definitely about ghosts.
Okay, very good. One. Ghostbusters. That was about ghosts.
Well, see, I was thinking like pilots that died and then like didn't make it, and now they're a video game for some reason.
So that would be fun. That would be a fun concept for someone to take failed pilots or rejected pilots from like 10, 20 years ago and just make it into a show now. Just bring it right to series.
Yeah,
I think that'd be good.
Also coming out is music creation software suite called Korg Gadget.
Yeah, and Korg Gadget is a music software suite that has been available on a bunch of other platforms, but now also coming to Switch, which is maybe a little bit strange that you'll be making music with your Switch and maybe with your cool new Labo toy piano.
No spoilers.
No spoilers.
And that's pretty much it this week as far as I'm concerned.
Saturday Morning RPG is also coming out on
Thursday.
Which I know it caused like a little bit of a splash when it came out on like Steam and stuff. But it looks like it's a kind of nostalgia fueled like late 80s, early 90s Saturday morning cartoon themed RPG. So think G.I. Joe and Transformers and all of that stuff kind of crammed together into a turn-based like semi-active combat system RPG.
Cool.
All right, Mark, let's get out of the new releases. Now it's time for a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo-related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, we're going to talk about who we think is going to die in Infinity War. So, I guess spoilers for the rest of the Marvel Universe up to this point.
Right.
Right?
If you don't know who is in Infinity War, then
that's right.
Any discussion of this kind will be a spoiler of sorts.
Right. We have no advanced knowledge of what's going to happen in Infinity War.
None at all.
None at all. But we like to make some dumb guesses, and so that's what we're going to do right now. Mark, who do you think is going to die in Infinity War, and why is the easy answer Hawkeye?
Because nobody cares about him.
Nobody cares about him. He's not in a lot of the promotional material.
He's not very interesting in the movies.
Also, look, Mark, we need to get Clint Barton out of the way, so we got room for Kate Bishop to come in and be Hawkeye.
That'd be awesome.
We need Kate Bishop. We don't need Clint Barton.
Somebody who is not going to die is Rhodey, Iron Patriot.
Sure.
Because they already kind of like pulled that in Civil War, where you're like, is he gonna die? Is he not gonna die?
And then he just didn't.
And then he didn't, and so it would actually kind of be really funny
if it's like the exact same emotional beat, but he dies.
He dies in this one.
Yeah, that would be. That was going to be my joke answer. Was Quicksilver? They find a way to bring him back. and then he dies again.
So I guess like the big, not even rumor, what everybody's feeling is that Captain America is going to die. And so, one, do you think Captain America is going to die, or do you think that they won't do it in order to subvert like everybody's expectations?
Oh, that's interesting. No, I do think that Captain America needs to die at some point. I don't know if it feels weird for me to have him die in an Avengers movie, or if like I would want that to be as part of a Captain America movie.
Well, I don't think he's making him being Chris Evans
Yes.
making any more Captain America movies. I think the Avenger movies are the end of his contract. So if it was going to happen, I think it's going to happen in one of the Avenger movies.
Do we know where like everyone else's contracts are? Like if is Robert Downey Jr. is he done after Avengers 4 or
Yeah, I don't know.
Or like Chris Hemsworth? Like I could see I expect Infinity War to be like a crazy thing that like pulls some sort of like insane reset button or like end of the like something really catastrophically bad to happen to our characters.
Yeah, absolutely.
And possibly like the entire world they live in. I would not be surprised if when we are moving out of Avengers 4, it is like into an alternate version of reality.
Oh, that could be interesting.
Where just like a few, almost like the Jonathan Hickman Secret Wars style of like, there's like a last group of characters who just get like sucked into some sort of alternate world and have to like rebuild from there. But I don't know. Well, and especially just like staying on that John Hickman vibe, the Thanos in this movie is accompanied by, Black Swan and Corvus Glaive, two of the character or Proxima Midnight, sorry, and Corvus Glaive, two of the characters from the Infinity event that Jonathan Hickman wrote as part of his like Avengers run, which led up to Secret Wars, and then like pulled a giant reset in the Marvel universe. So it seems like, and those characters were introduced in his run, so it seems like they are taking some notes from Hickman.
So you think that after not this movie, but the next Avengers that comes out next year, that they will use that as a way to like reboot
something,
the Marvel universe?
Well, and like, how much time are we going to be spending in, like in the time between Avengers 3 and Avengers 4, right? Because, I guess I'm making some assumptions here about Ant-Man and Wasp. Is that going to take place after Avengers 3, or is it maybe taking place before?
Yeah, I don't know where that one fits. I know that Captain Marvel is like set in the 90s or something.
Yeah, so like it seems to avoid all of this altogether.
So to answer the question of the 433, I don't think Captain Marvel is dying because she's not in this movie.
That's a pretty good answer. Let's see. I'll say Loki. Loki's going to die.
But I guess we will never know.
Yeah,
until Friday.
Well, and then, in fact, we will know. We were accompanied today by pianist Sam Moffat. Thanks, Sam. And that music, of course, means now that we are in the news.
A little bit of sad news. Dark Souls Remastered for Switch and the accompanying Solaire of Astoria amiibo have been delayed to sometime this summer. The game was originally scheduled for release alongside the PS4 and Xbox One versions on May 25th, but now it's just kind of a indeterminate date.
Yeah, how do you feel about that?
It's kind of a bummer. I was looking forward to it, and I was looking forward to buying it on Switch for, of course, the portability factor. But, I don't know. I guess I'm just hoping it's not too long of a delay.
Yeah, I mean, so the fact that it's a remaster of the game and not like something new, I feel less bad about it not coming to Switch day and date, that if it was out on all these other platforms and then Switch, just like 4 months later or whatever, that's like a missed opportunity. But like even in 4 months, the Switch, it's still going to feel like the thing that should be on Switch, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. I wonder, this is just pure speculation, if the problem has something to do with maybe like the online aspect of the game.
Yeah.
Because we were supposed to have a network test before the release, and that of course didn't happen because the game got delayed. But a number of people were able to play it at PAX East, where the game was showcased at like the Nintendo booth, I believe, or maybe Bandai Namco's booth.
Right.
But it was there, and it was in playable form, undocked, and so in handheld mode, and people said it was running really well. So who knows what the reason is, but the fact that it's only a couple of months gives me hope that it'll be out when they say it's going to in summer and not get delayed past that.
I wonder if there is something about the online infrastructure that is going to be vastly improved with Nintendo's like online program, and if they are just holding it until September or whenever that's going to launch.
Yeah, and they have said that they will be doing a network test on the Switch. That didn't get canceled outright. It just got pushed to unannounced date closer to the release of the game.
So stay tuned.
I am sorry to inform you that I'm becoming an accomplice in perpetuating some not news this week.
Oh, Mark.
When I tell you that Nintendo's Shinya Takahashi was asked at the BAFTAs about the possibility of Wave Race appearing on Switch, and he replied, quote, "You may see that game again. We have been trying to make many games, and that may be one of them. I personally love Wave Race," end quote. Takahashi was one of the directors of Wave Race 64, and this is, of course, not news, because pretty much any game that isn't currently announced could potentially be announced in the future.
Right. That Nintendo is working on many games. True.
This
and
could be one of them. Yeah. So,
and of course, the guy who worked on Wave Race 64 loves Wave Race. Like, what else? I mean, what's the other scenario that like he worked on it and just hated every second of it? Why would you make that game?
I would love if sometimes somebody's response to like, "Hey, what about like Wave Race or something?" instead of being like, "Yeah, just no."
No, we are not making another Wave Race.
Anyways,
would you welcome a Wave Race on the Switch?
Sure. Yeah. I don't really. I never played.
You
Wave
never
Race
played
64 or like the GameCube one or anything.
I played 64 a lot. It was one of those. It was a very early Nintendo 64 game, not launch title, because there were just two of those. And so like I had it and played just the hell out of it. And I don't even know if I liked it that much, but I remember just thinking how like novel it was that, you know, the water levels like raise and lower with each lap. So like you have to do each one differently, and the water physics were all very interesting. And it all sounds like totally trite stuff now. But you know, when it came out in like 1995 or 96, whenever that was, it seemed like a cool revelation. It's just weird that like there's and I guess there are a bunch of these Nintendo franchises that don't have like fun, bright characters or anything. It's just like, you know, I've got no nostalgia for like that dude in the red helmet. You know what I mean? It's not even like F-Zero where you're like, oh, at least the ship looks cool.
Right. Yeah.
It's just like these are all jet skis. I don't know. They're all ski-doos.
And you know, if you're upset that you know, this podcast has fallen trap to the not news spider web.
Yes.
I have one thing to say. Sorry, Kitty Kruisers.
I don't know if I like it, Mark.
I think if I just do it enough, people will just like accept it, even if they don't like it.
That we just start calling our fans Kitty Kruisers.
That feels mean and unearned.
It does.
Okay. Thanks to an accidental leak on the PlayStation Network, we have some additional details on the upcoming Sonic Mania update, which will also be available as part of Sonic Mania Plus. So potential spoilers. All zones will have transitions, like animated transitions.
Okay, is it like a cartoon between them, or what are we
No,
saying?
I don't think so. I think like, you know how in some of the zones there were those little animated like cutscenes?
Yeah, sure.
All of the zones will have those now instead of just the few that had before. You can skip every cutscene now. Totally new menu design. You can change the options on save files, so you can disable the time limit if you want to, among other things.
Oh, I hope they can disable the continue system.
I know, right? That'll probably never be changed. A new DLC option showed up in the menu, so maybe there's more DLC to come. They made a lot of changes to the Metal Sonic boss fight. So
okay, this is like you're running like with him or away from him or something
yeah,
like that?
yeah, and he's like shooting missiles, then you have to like jump over them, and
Yeah.
then at the end you have to become like a spin
Like a
pinball
ball,
thing to like ricochet things at him. Apparently they're like changing all of this. Phase 2 is reducing you only have to hit him 3 times, and the run segment after has been shortened. And then Phase 3 has been completely redone as a fight with Metal Sonic Kai from Knuckles Chaotix, but it's a blue Metal Sonic Kai. I mean, that means nothing to me.
Well, we've talked about Knuckles Chaotix on the show before, haven't we?
We have, yeah, but like I didn't retain any of it.
Mark, I expect you to remember everything I tell you about Knuckles Chaotix.
And then there's also other...
Charmy the Bee, Vector the Crocodile. Mighty the Armadillo. Mighty is in this game.
Mighty is in this game, or will be.
Yes. Sorry.
Other animation updates and improvements and stuff like that. It seems like it's a pretty big update.
The thing that I'm most interested about in here is the fact that there's more DLC, possibly, as indicated by a menu here.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll just release new zones. That'd be cool.
New zones would be cool. Like other like because Mean Bean Machine is in this game for a hot second, right? It would be cool to see like Sonic Spinball or like other kinds of Sonic games like woven into this too.
Oh yeah,
as
that would
boss
be
fights
cool.
Or whatever.
NIS America announced that they are bringing Disgaea 1 Complete to North America this autumn to celebrate the Disgaea series' 15th anniversary. Disgaea 5 Complete was one of the first JRPGs on the Switch around this time last year. I played the demo for it. It seemed nice.
But not one that you're excited to go back to the first entry in the series, or
I mean,
tell me how you feeling here, Mark. How you like Disgaea number 1, the original OG Disgaea?
I don't know enough about it to form an opinion. I'm basing all of my knowledge of the Disgaea series on the demo that I played,
right,
of 5 Complete, which seemed interesting. It was a tactical RPG as far as I could tell. I think like for me the like anime aesthetic of it is not really my bag.
Yeah, sure.
Where everybody's wearing like halter tops and stuff.
Right.
If they're lucky.
Right.
Yeah.
Normally it's just like boob armor plates.
Yes.
And maybe like some shin guards.
Yeah, stuff like that. Labo was released last week, and as part of the rollout, Nintendo updated their online store to let users buy spare parts as needed. It's kind of hilarious. You can buy like a $1.99 like piece of cardboard that you might need.
That's pretty funny.
Also, the Japanese site offers PDF versions of the cardboard sheets.
So I saw this PDF versions of the cardboard sheets. First of all, you're going to need to be able to print on like a pretty large piece of cardboard, right?
No. I mean, I guess that's one way to do it. I just assumed that you would print it out and then use it as a pattern to cut on like a regular cardboard box or something if you needed to.
But so, we spent some time putting together some Labo, and everything is like pre-fold or like
scored, so you
yes.
could like so you can fold it easily if you need to
and punch it out. And there's some really like small, like if you were doing this all with a PDF, and you had it all scaled correctly, because if you print it out the wrong size,
what a nightmare. Sounds like more trouble than it's worth.
Yeah, and then you're there with like an X-Acto knife cutting out like a tiny little, like, oh, I need to get the teeth for the piano, I need to stick out through this thing. I think it doesn't seem worth it. I spend the $1 or $2 and buy the replacement part.
Maybe it's for, people who are naturally crafty, unlike ourselves.
Yeah. What are you talking about? I customized our little remote control car here. I feel like I did a very nice job.
I mean, it's beautiful. Don't get me wrong.
There'll be pictures up on our Twitter.
There was no X-Acto knife.
Instagram. That's right. No X-Acto knife.
Night Trap 25th Anniversary Edition is coming to Switch this summer.
Okay, so we talked about this when it was originally announced, and like maybe coming to Switch, and then not coming to Switch.
Yeah, I think we talked about it when the developers of this 25th anniversary edition went on Twitter, because I think it's been out for other platforms for months now.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking about it coming to Switch when it was announced for other platforms, and the guy said the Nintendo was initially interested, and then after a couple of days they backed out, or they came back to him and said they were no longer interested or whatever.
They ghosted on him.
Yes, ghost piloted them, and I'm guessing
that's when you're just trying out disappearing on someone.
I'm gonna guess what happened, and here's my guess.
Yeah,
is that it was around the time that the Switch was originally released. This is a small indie developer, and the way Nintendo has been approaching, or like has been working with indie developers, is it's almost like once you get a game on the Switch, you can become like a producer, and you become a good Samaritan who can bring other games in,
Sure.
right? As like kind of like an ambassador for that indie
Yeah,
developer.
you're already like an approved partner, so you can bring other partners into the fold.
And so I think that Night Trap or the developer behind the Night Trap 25th anniversary edition was not in part of Nintendo's like network, but then they found a partner.
No one wanted to spend their social capital there on.
It was early.
bringing
I
Night
don't
Trap
even
to
know if
Switch.
they knew they had social capital.
Yeah, sure.
But at this point, it's possible for somebody to help them out. So that's why I think it's coming now. Night Trap is, of course, an infamous full-motion video game that became the center of the conflict over like video game violence and basically like immoral video games in the 90s that eventually birthed the ESRB.
Yeah, so perhaps historically significant. There's no reason for you to pick this up on Switch, right?
I mean, unless you want to.
But yeah, okay, sure. Yes, there's no reason to do anything unless you want to. It is the opinion of this side of the Nintendo Cartridge Society that you have no reason to pick up this game.
I think it's a historical curiosity.
I agree. And let it stay in the history books.
Agree to disagree.
I'm just saying we're not going to like review it on this show.
I mean,
or
I'm not
anything.
buying it.
No, that's right.
Yeah. Konami is making a new Castlevania game for mobile.
Oh.
Castlevania Grimoire of Souls has co-op play for up to 4 players. It's only been announced for Japan so far, but press releases for the game mention something about like connecting players around the globe, so maybe it'll get a release in the West.
Yeah, but also it's a mobile game, right?
It's a mobile game with real-time co-op gameplay, which I feel like that hasn't really caught on in the West.
Is this a like action platforming game
It appears to be, yes.
that you're somehow
It's
controlling
like a puzzle game or
from
something.
like a well, right?
Yeah.
But like, is that the kind of game you want to play on mobile?
It's not the type of game I want to play on mobile, but I
Mm.
think this is for the Japanese market where mobile games are like trouncing everything. So
Yeah. So you think but like mobile games that are designed for mobile though, right? Like this is sort of taking a console or like handheld style of game and just putting it on mobile and being like, well, here we go.
I don't know, maybe it's optimized for mobile.
You think it's gonna be just crushing it? You think this is
No,
a good move?
I have no faith that a new Castlevania game from Konami is going to be good. But we have Bloodstained to look forward to.
That's true. That's true. And really, like, if we want Castlevania-like games, every game that comes out is classified as a Metroidvania in one stripe or another. So, like, maybe we don't need Castlevania anymore.
Yeah, that's true. That kind of makes me sad to think about, but it's true.
After playing Super Castlevania 4, what's the full name of that game?
I think just Super Castlevania 4, yes.
I'm a little bit hard pressed to like really see the value in the series. Like I know movie monsters are cool, and like something that is just a pure like action platforming, like combat based, creepy. Like I guess I sort of abstractly understand the value of all of that, but as like what makes Castlevania, its specific appeal eludes me a little bit.
Well, it's also gotten so far away from this idea of like movie monsters.
Yeah.
Like they don't even really factor into the games anymore.
They should bring that back though. I want to fight Frankenstein.
I think that's a fun idea.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to steer back to.
Isn't Grimoire of Souls, wasn't that also the name of like a PS Vita or PSP Silent Hill spin-off or game that like Way Forward made? That's like,
oh geez. There's a Grimoire of Lost Souls.
Is that a Silent Hill game?
It is not a Silent Hill game.
Oh.
It is something else.
Okay. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, I don't know what you're talking about. So
good enough for me. Finally, a couple of weeks ago, we learned that Spike was going to be a playable character in Mario Tennis Aces thanks to a Nintendo of Europe trailer for Switch, even though he hasn't been like officially revealed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks to a Japanese retailer offering a handbag as a pre-order bonus for the game, and on that handbag, there's like images of a bunch of different what we're presuming are playable characters.
Yes.
In Mario Tennis Aces, we also know that Birdo, Diddy Kong, and Paratroopa are going to be playable characters as well. Patrick, my question for you is, do you feel either positively or negatively about some Nintendo characters just being named as the thing they are? Like, it's not like Perry the Paratroopa. It's just Paratroopa.
Well, so where do we Yoshi? Is that his name, or is that like a race of creature? It is both, yes?
I guess it's both.
So we've got a pretty big example of like a famous and beloved one that is just named what he is.
And is Birdo a Birdo, or is Birdo a
I feel like
dinosaur?
I feel like Birdo is singular, right? Like
there's only one?
There's just one Birdo.
Like Tigger?
When you encounter her over and over again in Super Mario Brothers 2, I think you're encountering her like over. It's the same character.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They're persistent.
Yeah, that's right. And when she appears to be a different color, like she's
just angry.
She's just right. Or she's doing that on purpose. She's like, I'm gonna be gray today.
Right. Yeah.
Spends a couple hours in the mirror.
But like Paratroopa.
Okay, that one I feel like, come on,
just laziness.
Let's name him. Let's go back to, isn't there a Paratroopa? Sorry, in Paper Mario,
like 1,000-Year Door?
Maybe even the first Paper Mario.
There has to be.
I don't remember his name,
but he has one.
But he must have a name.
I do kind of like Chain-Chomp just being named Chain-Chomp, though. I like to imagine that Chain-Chomp, like his parents named him. Or her, chain-chomped.
I kind of like the idea that it's impossible to name a chain chomp. We are both having a hard time saying this. Chain chomp.
Yeah, but I have the excuse of cough medicine.
That's right. Well, and my excuse is I'm hanging out with someone who's high on cough medicine. I recently played Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, and I forgot that there are chain chomps in that game. They're just there, and there's also a chain chomp in Link's Awakening too. So like. These things, they traverse universes, man. So you call them whatever you want. They know they're chain chomp. They are Legion.
Yeah, good enough for me.
And then what about Spike? I guess I don't really have any affinity for like those spiky characters.
No, they're annoying in the game.
They are annoying in the game.
Like at no point in my life have I been like, oh, I really wish I could control one of these things.
Well, you'll have the option to in June. When does this game come out?
June feels right to me.
June feels right. All right, Mark, let's get out of the news. And that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Remember, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If you like this episode, you could share it with a friend or on social media platforms. If you're doing it on Twitter, you can tag us or whatever. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell, and the show is at Nin Cart Society. We're also on Facebook, but so are a lot of things. If you like Mark and Mine's opinions, we write about comic books on retconpunch.com. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can find more of 8-Bit Betty's music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying, how's a chain-chomp going to name anyone? All they can do is bark, right? Thanks for listening.
Campfire.